This is a Silvertone radio that was very kindly sent to me by a YouTube viewer, and he wanted me to try to fix a problem with it, and I have, and I'll tell what I found in it. The model number on this is a 1009 Ice Blue. And here's the chassis. And the person that sent this to me put new electrolytic capacitors in it. But he said when he did that, then this resistor here started smoking. And that resistor is the cathode bias resistor for the 50C5 tube, this one here. And it's paralleled with a electrolytic capacitor. And he had replaced that cap with this one here. Now that capacitor is not absolutely needed. Most radios don't have it, but what it does is it keeps the DC voltage on the cathode constant and provides higher gain in the output tube. But if you remove it, you get some negative feedback, which improves the audio quality. So I just went ahead and disconnected it. What I wanted to start out by doing is removing everything from the cathode circuit that could theoretically cause a short or an overload. And also I found this ceramic capacitor here connects from the plate of the output tube to the cathode, and I think that's just to provide a little bit of high frequency reduction and also to possibly eliminate any arcing in the output tube. But then so what I did first of all, I put in a new resistor, because originally he had paralleled these two and the radio sort of came on, but it had a lot of hum. But we wanted to make sure the right value of resistance was in the circuit, and these are 150, so I think that that's probably close enough. Put a 150 in, and it went ahead and burned. And the first thing I thought was there was a heater to cathode short in the 50C5 tube, so when I tried it I put a new tube in there, but that still smoked the resistor. So that's when I started taking things out of the cathode circuit to get it down to just the resistor itself. So I removed this cap and I removed the ceramic cap there too. And then I found that the radio wouldn't power up at all. So what I did was I connected my voltmeter to the volume control, and that's the neutral side of the power line. Connected one probe here, and I started probing the tube filaments. I thought maybe a tube had burned out, and so I probed all the way through the filament string. When I got to the 12AV6 tube at the ground terminal, which is the end of the filament string here, there was still 120 volts. So I thought, it must not be a good ground connection from the circuit ground to the power line. And that's when I found the problem. The original capacitor had a terminal here, right here you can see, which would have been originally connected to ground, I believe. I think the way it hooked up was that somehow the power line neutral made a connection to the capacitor can, and then that can made the connection to the rest of the circuit. But with the can removed, there was no more connection. The only way that any power could get from the positive back to the neutral side of the circuit was through that resistor, because this capacitor here connected to ground, or connected to this point here, and it was also connected to the power line neutral, because this black wire here connects to the power line neutral. It goes down here just to this point, and that wire was connected up to the negative side of the capacitors. So the way it was working was all that power was flowing through that little resistor, and that of course was too much for it, so it just smoked. So it was operating in a really weird kind of mode. What I had to do then, I tested it by using an alligator clip lead from the main circuit ground to the power line neutral, and it powered up and worked okay. So I just connected a wire there to make a firm connection between the power line neutral, the capacitor negatives, and the rest of the circuit. Now I'm going to power it up here and test it. I think that this has got bad capacitors in the IF cans, so I'm going to have to fix those too. It's going to be kind of noisy, but at least the problem has been fixed that the original contributor had. So let me plug the, I'm going to plug the cord in here. Turn it on. Okay, it's warming up here. Let me turn the fan off here.
It actually happens, but you have nothing to do with it. In fact, you have been the reason. I don't want to sound too much like Ron Paul here, but you have been the reason why we have not recovered from this recession.
Starting to get the trash from the bad IF cans. See if it'll work a little bit longer here.
But yeah, so Governor Perry adds the let's see if I can. Okay, I see we got a problem here. We've got too many windows open. Let's see if we can get this to do this.
Well, it's got bad caps in the IF cans, but at least it worked long enough to show that the original problem has been fixed and the resistor is not overloading now. So there's the Silvertone radio. I'm going to have to take these cans out, and I've got some new 100 picofarad silver mica caps I can use for replacements, but that ought to get the radio completely working then.